Arteta has fixed whatever problem it is people were pretending he had at Arsenal. This result is no surprise to me. I've been consistent in my beliefs that this was coming. We are now halfway through the season. And the first half, people were bashing us. They were using that evidence as a reason as to why Arsenal can't win the league. A reason why Arsenal would fall apart. And I've never understood it. You're telling me at the halfway point, we are comfortably top of the league. We are top of the Champions League, undefeated, 1 goal conceded. We've had all our best players out with injury. And out of the top 10, we've played the majority of the difficult away games. Out of the top 10 in the league, we only have to go to 3 away stadiums. 2 of them is Brentford and Palace in 8th and 9th position. All of the other teams have to come to our stadium. And we just produced a result yesterday that will continue going forward. I am convinced of it. This result was expected. This was going to happen. People have been searching for the negative. People, after a defeat, after a draw, have been looking. They've been waiting to be negative about Arsenal. And I've never understood it. There were clear signs there. We were clearly travelling in the right direction. We were just without the best defenders in the world. When you miss Gabriel and Saliba, you will drop points. But again, I stated, out of the top 10, look at some of the away stadiums we've been to. Chelsea, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Fulham, Sunderland. So many great teams we've had to go away from home. And still we're top. This result yesterday was so good for so many different reasons. And I want to speak about it very quickly though. If you can help me out. Hit like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on that game. To me, it was mental. It was coming. I could see it from the first whistle even. Even when there were some nerves about, I felt it. I was convinced a result like this was coming. Look, I predicted in the pre-match breakdown a 2 or 3-0 win to Arsenal. I didn't expect 4 goals, if I'm being honest, but it was totally deserved. I want you to genuinely let me know who was your man of the match, because some of the performances in that game were exceptional. So many passages of play that I thought were good. And the good thing is, I think we only get better from here. There were still some chances that were missed. I think a Timber, there was an Odegaard chance. There was, Odegaard had a couple of chances. Gabriel Jesus had a chance. Victor Gyokeres had a chance. We still could have scored more goals. That's why I'm so impressed. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on the game. To me, it just sets us up perfectly for a huge back part of the season. We are now halfway. We can kind of relax a little bit, even though we've got a big game coming up against Bournemouth. But you go into it and you look at some of the games Man City still have to play. Like, some of these top teams still have to go to so many difficult away games that Arsenal have already ticked off. The only difficult, I say difficult, every game's difficult. I'm not getting ahead of myself, by the way. I'm not saying because of this result, Arsenal have definitely won the league. But it puts us in a commanding position. It puts us in a position where most people don't realise quite how good we have it, quite how comfortable we are. Arsenal are doing great. Man City is the only game I look at and think, right, that's a game where you really have to be something special to get a result there. But this Arsenal team proved yesterday we can do it. Aston Villa were on an 11-game win streak. To break that kind of streak, you have to be great. And I didn't like Emery's the way he conducted himself at the end. Now, look, I don't have context. So if there's a terrible emergency reason, then I would hold my hands up. But at the end of the game, Arteta was looking for him to shake his hand and he walked straight down the tunnel. I can't condone that. This is a manager that's had so much flack. Mikel Arteta, people are constantly on his back. I see it on my comment section. People are saying he's not good enough. Emery's way better. Emery's crafted a better team at Aston Villa, and I don't understand that at all. You're an Arsenal fan and you're wanting Emery, a manager we've already had, and saying his team's better than Arsenal. I don't agree. Yesterday Arsenal showed levels. Yeah, but Aston Villa was missing Onana in midfield because he got injured. Hello? Declan Rice, the best midfielder in the world, was still not in that Arsenal team, and still we scored 4 goals past them. It was great to see Saliba and Gabriel back. And like I've been saying consistently, it won't be no shock to me that when these guys come back, people are going to say, all of a sudden, Arsenal looks strong again defensively. All of a sudden, Arsenal have started scoring set pieces again. We saw it in the first instant. So yesterday, big Gabriel scores his header. William Saliba puts in a last-ditch touch to deny Ollie Watkins a certain tap-in. This is the difference in football. When you have your best players, you produce your best results. That is clearly what we saw yesterday. And it's also going under the radar just how important it is that big Benny Blanco is now back for Arsenal. The depth that gives us in defence at a time where we do have some defensive, not problems, but worries, maybe slight concerns because there's so many players out injured. Having Big Benny Blanco back, Ben White to play right back so you can play Jurrien Timber in the middle if needed, which is a position which he showed he has class in that position as well. Jurrien Timber yesterday was great. Saliba yesterday was great. Gabriel, great. Trossard, my God, going forward, Trossard was electric. I saw a stat pop up earlier, and in 2025, Trossard has the most goal involvements for Arsenal by a mile. So it's crazy when I see that because that's the position most people identify and say we can strengthen that position, which is a belief I've held in recent seasons. But Trossard this season is something different. He has taken Arsenal to the next level almost in terms of that attacking, not output, but just the way he carries the ball, the way he's so technical, I don't know, just everything about Trossard seems to have gone up a level this season. And that is maybe because we've brought in Eze, the competitions there. Like, Eze was a player so many people were excited about and were convinced would strengthen this Arsenal team. He can't really get a look in at the minute. And that's no slight on Eze. That's just to show how good this Arsenal team is. Like, now when we play Bournemouth, we've got a cup game coming up as well. So maybe you can rest one of your first team players and play Eze in a cup game. And you would hope the drop-off, the fullback, when you do that, isn't too big. Again, hopefully we can get to a position where we can rotate these players freely to avoid the injuries that we're currently experiencing. Look, I'm recording this on Wednesday morning, so hopefully there's no bad news about Gabriel. He had to come off, but we have to remember he's just come back from injury. It didn't look too bad. I'm not concerned massively. I think this is just a fatigue thing. Let's take it easy. You've just come back from injury. We're clearly in charge of this game. And that's what I like as well. People saying, look, we conceded late. That's the only thing I look at and think, right, we need to tidy up because we was comfortable in this win, but we did concede another late goal, 90-plus minute goal. You can't do that sustainably going forward, especially in a game where it's 1-1. But did Arsenal switch off slightly because the game was already won? Was this because Gabriel was off, and if Saliba and Gabriel were playing together, this never would have happened? But we don't know because it happened. We just need to keep an eye on that because this season we concede goals later than I would like. There seems to be a slight pattern emerging that Arsenal concede goals late. So if that does continue going forward, we need to make sure we're more clinical further up the pitch. And in this game, we absolutely was. So let's hope that trend continues of this goal scoring. Look, there's talking points. I want to focus on Victor Gyokeres first because, look, Jesus came on and scored, and I couldn't be happier for Gabriel Jesus. He's my son's favourite player. He's one of my favourite players. He is the definition of football. When I think of football, I think of Gabriel Jesus. Everything he does about football, I really enjoy watching him play. I couldn't be happier that he got his goals. Maybe there is a wider conversation needed about Victor Gyokeres and Gabriel Jesus. Maybe I'll do a video coming up about that. But I want to focus on some of the criticism people are pointing at Victor Gyokeres. And if anyone's been a long-time subscriber of this channel, they will know from the start I have backed Victor Gyokeres constantly. I've constantly said we need to keep playing him. He is the guy. But I will focus on this game. People say Victor Gyokeres doesn't get passed to. And there has been instances this season where the pass to Victor Gyokeres has been a viable option. He's been there to pass to, but we didn't select that option. In this game, though, I saw people moaning that we're not passing to Victor Gyokeres. Early on in this game, I saw a player who wasn't hiding, but was possibly lacking confidence. Like, you know, look, I used to play up front. You know, when you're a striker and you're lacking confidence, it's very easy to position yourself so you can't receive the ball. So it looks like you're making the run, but there's also two players in front of you. So if the ball's on the left-hand side, these guys are in your way to ensure that you never receive the ball. So you might be making a diagonal run behind them, but the pass is never on. I saw that a couple of times. Now, look, I'm not calling Victor Gyokeres out. I'm not saying he's rubbish. I'm saying that's something that we need to help him with. As soon as he gets confidence, those type of runs disappear, in my opinion, because when he picked up the ball a couple of times in the second half, he seemed more confident. He got a shot away. There was one chance that I really liked. He kind of worked it, got him out of his feet. There was 2 Aston Villa players around him. He kind of shimmied and shuffled and played it onto his right foot and tried to get the shot away. That's what I like to see, because once he got his foot on the ball, he appeared to make those darting runs even more effective, like he really did want the ball. So that's what I would say about Victor Gyokeres. It appears to me, in my observation, he's a confidence player that is lacking confidence at the minute. People might not agree, and that's absolutely fine. That's only the way that I see it. Victor Gyokeres, if he gets a goal, I think that improves. His touch was better. People saying his touch is terrible, his trampoline foot. I don't see that. Can he be slightly busier in moments? Can he get involved in play more than he currently does? Yes, 100%. That I agree with. Victor Gyokeres is still the right guy, but he has to be careful, because with players like Gabriel Jesus and now Havertz, who we saw on the bench, he has to be careful, because he won't get grace for the whole season. Arteta won't say, look, this is my guy for the whole season, and then just continue to play him when you've got players coming off the bench and scoring. But again, that is a topic of discussion for another video. All in all, I'm buzzing with the win. It was again a performance that quiets down the rivals, because they was having a field day with Arsenal lately. And again, I couldn't really understand it, because the narrative out there was Arsenal were falling apart, Arsenal were rubbish, Arsenal can't really score. And I couldn't see it, because I was looking at the table, Arsenal in first, and I thought, right, maybe Champions League. Let's have a look at that. First, 1 goal conceded, undefeated, semi-final of the Carabao Cup, still in the FA Cup. I couldn't see. I know rival fans are just painting drama for the sake of it. They want to heap pressure on Arsenal. They want to heap pressure on the manager. And Arsenal fans have picked up on it. You see some of the negativity swirling around the Arsenal fan base. But it was good to see in this game that a lot of people were keeping level-headed. And there was actually some people who got the correct scoreline, 4-1, which I wouldn't have believed. And it wasn't even one person. There was quite a few shouts. So I will go through them. So if you got the correct scoreline yesterday, this is your shout out. Charles Noble with the shout of the night. 4-1 in favour of Arsenal. I actually dreamed this would happen. Charles Noble, I need the lottery numbers, because you were spot on. Kanaka Post, 4-1 to Arsenal. Valentin Samuel, 4-1 to Arsenal. Legacy Regen, 4-1. Femguy, 4-1 to Arsenal. Mike Alpha G, 4-1. Rampant Warrior, 4-1 Arsenal win. I'm very optimistic will destroy Villa. Absolutely true. JVGI1HS, Arsenal 4, Villa 1. Mododo 6950, 4-1. That so many people got the correct scoreline. I couldn't believe it. There was one here that was close, so I'm going to give him a shout out anyway, and that is Godfrey. He said, my brother, we got to be ruthless tonight. I think we're going to hammer Villa 4-0. He didn't expect the late concede, neither did I. And then the final person to get it right. This one's difficult to pronounce, but I'm going to go with it. Olu Ye Wajori. And what a shout, because he said Arsenal were going to win 4-1. That is my thoughts on the game. I am so happy. Halfway through the season, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. Majority of the top 10 games we've played away from home, they have to come to the Emirates, where we are capable of clearly comprehensively dismantling teams. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Thank you so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could do me a quick favor, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.